Going live, just let me know everything is fine. Yeah. So, hello everybody. Sorry for a little bit of delay. We had some technical problem. So, welcome in the third live sessions, talking about creating brighter future for life sciences, especially for postdocs and PhD students in academia. I will just make short check if everybody are let's say hearing me well. So I see some people joining or already joined, so I welcome everybody. And do you hear me well? Can you also put in your comments if you hear me well? So do you hear me well? Because otherwise, do you hear me well? I will make sure that I'm on maximum. Yes, so thanks for checking. Today I will continue what I already talked about last time. I'm today in sunglasses because we have nice weather, but also because we lately celebrated King's Day. So the birthday of our king, Willem Alexander. And he's already 10 years being king. So I think it's celebrated and actually wear something orange just to remind the orange color is actually very symbolic for Dutch royal family and for Dutch royal birthday or birthday of the king. So that's something why I thought it would be nice to have. But besides, we have very nice sunny weather today. So that's another important thing to have sunglasses. So for those which don't know me yet or joining the session, I'm really glad that the other two live sessions were actually seen already, and there have been 50, 60 views already of this live session. I'm trying to play with a time to make sure that to choose actually right time which would fit since we talk about creating global better future for PhD students and postdocs globally. I try to adjust time that it fits and overseas, so people from Boston, but also other places in US can join, but also people from Europe. So hopefully 3 o'clock, it's 9 a.m. in Boston. So hopefully people there can also join me more and more. So today, what I thought it would be good to talk about, first of all, bridges between academia and industry, and I have my startup to allow smoother transitions from postdocs from academia to industry. And why I'm talking about that, because actually it was recently estimated that only 0.5% of all PhDs is professors or actually are becoming professors. So we have 99.5% of people which have to find their way outside academia. And of course, that's important. And that's something which I brought in the post on LinkedIn. And I was very happy that actually somebody from LinkedIn brought a post. I think Helen brought a post about, I just have to find it. She brought a post, and this post reached already, I think, around more than 4,000 4,000 likes about being a scientist is a career, and scientists are needed in every field. So we talk, of course, about academia, but also industry, law, government, healthcare, criminal justice, policy, journalism, and of course, as I told you, also politics. I think this infographic was made by Unbiased Science Podcast, but Helen brought it, and I was really glad that there's more than 4,500 reactions on it, or likes, or insights. And I think this brings very important impact. What we as startups, in my case, can do in a way in terms of offering better transition of postdocs from industry, from academia to industry. So in terms of industry representing also startups, but also what we can do within university to improve working conditions and career development for PhD students and postdocs. And I already told you about, based on editorials published in Nature, that the situation of PhD students, postdocs is getting really every year worse, and there are increased percentages of PhD students globally at different universities, and name the issues. And what it's insufficient mentorship. The second thing, which I already start talking about, is work culture, toxic environment, and even not even looking only at Dutch universities, but I was happy to see it in academic Weekblad. So there is already problem with toxic work culture, and I would call it even a stronger hostile culture. So apparently, based on the article, which was of employees of Faculty of Humanities suffered intimidation, verbal aggression, not just unacceptable, but certain solutions have to be done regarding any type of intimidation and any type of level. And I mentioned to you that I was really impressed by University of Harvard, or how Harvard dealt with any type of intimidation, discrimination, bullying, which is happening worldwide, right? We know at universities, and to improve this work culture, which is very important. Actually, I will also give you a link in the comment. I was really surprised by finding informations in Harvard Magazine. That's actually a newspaper, which is published by Harvard University itself, or Harvard University community. And I was really surprised that there actually on Harvard there has been created Harvard Police Department, even police department, and this department makes sure that any verbal, non-verbal, graphic, or physical conduct or misconduct will be reported. There is clear sexual and gender-based harassment policy at Harvard University, at Harvard Police Department, which is prohibiting domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking, and is committed to maintaining a campus environment that emphasizes the dignity and worth of all members of university community. To that end, the university has adopted the following policy along with accompanying procedures for institutional disciplinary action. And there's many cases still ongoing, but what I like, even in Harvard Magazine, there are even professors, names of professors brought in, because this process usually take a lot of time to actually be sorted out. They can take still years, but such a police department has been created. And I think this is really great achievement. And all the universities, I think, not only Americans or top universities in the world, which is represented by Harvard, should take the same steps. Create such police departments, so nobody will this will minimize any type of risk, because if any colleagues of yours, any principal investigators, group leaders know that there is police department, and this can be very quickly notified, because there's even telephone, an anonymous telephone number that you can call and notify any type of harassment. And especially this is happening, which I told you, for people which are temporary, which are internationals. That's what also the Dutch university, Leiden University, describes or published in the article. So I think that's good to know. Regarding the other thing, which is leading to hostile work culture, and I think it's important, because if you have hostile culture, you cannot create brighter future for any type, any staff member, any students, because this culture is very toxic and can even lead to such consequences that PhD students and postdocs, the most vulnerable students, have to go to therapy after such postdoc or after such PhD. And I think this has to be really severely not only punished but avoided, because this causes a huge risk in development for every scientist, which is talented, which is hardworking, but it's bullied, for example. So for me, this is very important to talk about this loud, because I think in terms of victims are always afraid to talk about this. But I think this future. So by creating better work culture at different type of universities, and punishing bullies has to be brought in terms of even police department. And I really, for any professors which are hearing me from Harvard, responsible to bring this into action at Harvard, my deepest thank you for creating such a police department. Another thing which I wanted to talk about is also, this is not only should happen, this workshop culture represented at the institution level or location, but also for conferences. Any conferences which are organized, they should also introduce any type of consequences which will be given to people who are actually bullying or sexually harassing at any level any participant at conferences. And I like that actually International Society for Stem Cell Research, that's the conference which I was attending while being academic. This year is in Boston. 14th of June, also has conduct, and it says that ICCR is committed to provide a safe and productive meeting environment that fosters open dialogue and discussion and the exchange of scientific ideas, while promoting respect and equal treatment for all participants, free of harassment and discrimination. I talk about harassment, but also there is, of course, discrimination, which can be a very big issue. And all participants are expected to treat others with respect and consideration, follow venue rules, and alert staff or security if at on-site meeting of any dangerous situations or, for example, sexual harassment or anyone in distress. Attendees are expected to uphold standards of scientific integrity and professional ethics. So that's some very important thing which I'd like to mention here. Being professional also at ethical level. And these policies comprise the code of conduct for all ICCR meetings and events, and apply to all attendees, speakers, exhibitors, sponsors, staff, contractors, volunteers, media, and guests. And regarding harassment policy, ICCR prohibits any form of harassment, sexual or otherwise. Incidents should immediately be reported to ICCR meeting staff and take it into action. So in that case, I think if we control this at university level by creating police department for all this sexual harassment or other types of intimidation, discrimination, actions, I hope that there will be not only this bullying, bullies will be punished, or people who are harassed or intimidated at any level, but also there will be this will be minimizing risk and increasing and improving work culture at universities. And I think in companies, I have to say from company perspective, this road, in companies, the policies are way strict, way more transparent. At university, it's very old-fashioned structure. So it's very hard to, let's say, execute all this legal process, because in the end, these people have to be brought to the court. So they have to go under prosecution. And this can take years at universities. And I think creating such police department may speed up this executing processes. The third thing which I'd like to talk about is leadership. So we have issues, insufficient mentorship, we have work culture issues, toxic and hostile, and that's actually hostile was even described by Harvard magazine. And we also have leadership issues. I see, yes, you see it now. Leadership issues. I think there's sometimes when I also from my own personal experience, I have now, after being many years in academia and having strong academic background, and working at different universities in three different countries, in Netherlands, Belgium, and Poland. I have certain things which I'd like to share with you, also from my personal experience about leadership. And that's why I also develop Shape Your Leadership program to also help bad leaders to have a gut and say mea culpa and become actually, based on their mistakes which they did in the past, become a better leader, because that's very responsible function. And I wanted to talk a bit about leadership that I told you before last time that regarding this intimidation, there was even HR department of Leiden University which took into perspective what we can do. And one of the things could be psychometric tests for future leaders at university. And I think we have to remember, that's also from my personal experience, is that not every good scientist should be a leader or will be good leader. These are two separate things and two separate set of competencies. And I think to be a good leader, you have to really make sure that you know how to manage people, also not only based on scientific level by providing them right training, but also on work ethical level. And I unfortunately also had personal experience that actually unfortunately happened in Poland after I returned I work in Warsaw. And one of the PIs which I met was there were actually PIs which I met did postdoc at Harvard for 5 years, and he came back to Poland. And for me, that was what was surprising by watching him, observing him, and talking to my colleagues, which are PG students, was that he was becoming actually, in a way, using his in a way superiority, which I never understood, because I met in my career many talented Nobel even prize winners, and they were very modest regarding people management and the attitude, how they manage people as students or postdocs. But from him, I was really surprised that he felt like, I am Polish, I came now from Harvard, and I will impose my superiority on other people. And for me, that was really strange to see, because I always thought that, when you have a chance from going for postdoc from European country or Mid-East country like Poland to Harvard, you should take the best lessons and then bring it back and show the best example, right? You land group leader position because this is trampoline if you have on your CV Harvard, but being on Harvard doesn't give you any right, especially superiority right, to impose on other people, or even actually not being ethical at your work, showing bad example by your bad behavior, actually not ethical very often behavior, and demoralizing behavior to your students. And I was really surprised, because lately I saw interview with him on YouTube, and that was for me the most shocking, was that after leaving Warsaw, because he was not a good leader, his group dispersed, he went to Wrocław, to Łukaszewicz port, and now he's claiming that he learned, he's giving interview in perspective like, look at me, I came from Harvard and I learned the best way of management of people, meaning lab, and I'm so good at it. And I was really shocked, like, I'm sorry, but you left, actually your group dispersed in Warsaw, and now you come to Wrocław and giving this interview, look at me, I am talented scientist, I'm talented leader. And I think for me, that's really shocking to actually see such people which give interviews, because if you are, you are a great example, you should give interviews. But if you have such past, why you claim and create this superiority image of yourself? If you have not proven to be good leader. So for me, this was actually really surprising that such people think that I came from Harvard now, so I will be superior, and other people don't know, are not as good leaders, and they don't know about the best methods to manage lab. And then you see there is really some the facts don't really match. So for me, I would say that Harvard University is the best place for people which really take the best out of it. And when they return to their country, they not even behaving like they are superior. Even I would say I talked to many Americans, and they did, and I know Americans which even did PhD in Harvard Med School. My boss did PhD at Yale University, but I never seen such superiority behavior. Look at me, I'm now coming from Yale, and all you guys have to listen to me because I know the best methods in the world how to manage lab and perform my science. And I think that is really, for me, worrying. That such people are taking advantage and using actually Harvard University as in a way, being at Harvard, is equaling to now, let's say, feeling superior over other scientists. So if you were not at Harvard, you are not as good as me. And for me, that is not only showing narcissistic issues, but also you become hostile because you think that you got a power because you came from Harvard. So for me, such people are hugely disregarded in a way. For me, this is showing that they didn't go for Harvard to learn best lessons and use this experience to create better work culture in Poland, for example, and their labs, and disappeared. So for me, I think for me, I would only say that for those people which think like, I was at Harvard and I can come back to Poland, and now I will impose how great I am, how superior I am over other scientists. I know the best how to manage people because I learned that in United States. Sorry, if you claim that you were in United States and your group dispersed, you are not good group leader. You are demoralizing students. Sorry, but this is not example to even be given for interview. And I think I wanted to say that because this is something which I was really shocked to see this interview and see this type of arrogant, narcissistic behavior. And Harvard University is for people which I think there should be some different selection. So the conclusion from it is that should be different selection in Poland from all different universities in Poland, not only from Warsaw, that people from Warsaw get this chance to go to Harvard, but also PhD students or students from other small villages. So there should be more equal chances, which are going to take the best learnings from Harvard and come back and build groups and be a example of a leader, of a good leader. So that's for me very important to share with you today. Maybe you are surprised that such situations happen in Poland. This, of course, can happen in any of your countries, but even talking to Americans and talking to people which did PhD at Harvard Med School, I never seen such arrogance. I never seen such superiority or narcissistic attitude as a group leaders. So this only shows that these particular people have complexes. They have very low self-esteem. And by being at Harvard, they coming back and they claiming and actually feeding this low self-esteem by mistreating other people. And I think that's the very wrong. And such leaders should never, ever be allowed to be a group leader. So for these people, so I think this leadership is very important because it has impact on not only each particular research group, but also university as organization. And also to also tell you a little bit about Poland, that's what I also found it strange by living so long in Netherlands and talking to some internationals that people are, the capital city of Poland is Warsaw, and I have the impression that people from Warsaw feel also superior. So if I'm born in Warsaw, I'm a top dog, right, in the language. If I'm born somewhere else, I'm not. And I think the problem which I see in Poland is that there are no equal chances created at universities in every city. Warsaw is a place which actually gets the most opportunities. The most research grants are given to Warsaw institutions. So I also see some certain discrimination from perspective across different universities. For example, I was studying in Wrocław, and I never heard about possibility of going to Harvard as a student. This was never brought to us, and we were the best students also. I had very good colleagues which went abroad, but we never had a chance to go to Harvard. So, but people in Warsaw, they do. And I think that also shows how unequal opportunities for development, for going to top universities in United States, are present in Poland. I don't know how it's about other countries. Maybe you can also give in the comments. But I wanted to also mention this, because I think that's also important for all of you, which will be listening to this live session. And I know that we talk about things which are difficult, but as I said, we need to talk about this. We need to name these issues before we can come across to the right solution for every country, for every university. We have to bring this to the, basically we have to speak about this. We have to talk about this, and we have to name it. And here I'm not afraid to talk about this. Also Poland, because I also have a critical perspective, because I think being scientist also taught me to have critical perspective at many different dimensions of doing research. And science is fantastic, but if we have toxic or hostile work culture, we end up with a lot of damage, which is happening to PhD students, postdocs, or other employees. Great science cannot be simply, and the lab will be closed. Also, this is regarding the leadership. If there is bad leader, the group will also eventually fade away, or will be removed, or will disappear. So I think this is important, especially for professors who are listening to me, to really take this into account. And I think some of them maybe will be very surprised what is happening in Poland. I will bring this more to politics, because I would like to also talk to Polish ministry if they're actually aware of such situations of unequal chances, especially going to the top universities in the United States, to give this type of people from small villages a trampoline to, especially when they are ambitious, hardworking, and motivated, to join Harvard University of MIT or other top universities in the United States, and come back with great lessons and create great groups which are nurturing, which have great work culture. But any narcissistic attitude, because I was at Harvard, should not ever be accepted. And I think we have to always consider, when I talk to Americans, they are coming from New York or Chicago or LA. I don't see that between each other they feel some superiority, that I was born in New York, or I lived in Los Angeles, or here or there. I don't see that. So I think this is kind of Polish complexes, unfortunately. Polish flows, typical Polish flows, to which has to be work on, because they are definitely something which have a strong impact on work culture at universities and leadership. So for those PIs which are Polish and they have this attitude, I invite you to join my coaching sessions, one-to-one, on leadership and how to become better group leader, to create better work culture in your lab. I will also put link to this coaching sessions, to this coaching courses, and I think there you can have a chance to become better leader, basically. So that's something which I have as a solution right away for you. And I think how long I'm talking already, 30 minutes. I also only wanted to create a better transition, and that university has, or having old-fashioned structure, could think of. And while I was, I think, doing my third postdoc, I came across Columbia University in New York. They already created relatively early incubator. they started incubator, which was called the Columbia Startup Lab in June of 2014. And this is still a landmark of Columbia University long-standing spirit of innovation, collaboration, and entrepreneurship. So that's how they, let's say, led around 329 startups to be created. And they in this startup there have been involved around 450 Columbia alumni scientists which became entrepreneurs, and they have raised over $94.1 million in funding and $115 million in acquisitions. And for me that was really wonderful to see how this is growing since 2014. So already this was 9 years ago. And this year there's 59 startups because, of course, certain startups maybe are sold or going into exit phase, or they are scaling up, or they are established companies. But this year in 2023, there is very nice also link I will give you in the comments. They have 59 startups founded by 71 alumni entrepreneurs, so scientist entrepreneurs, who hail from 8 of Columbia's undergraduates even, and graduate schools, including Barnard and Teachers College. So I really found it a fantastic type of substructure done already in 2014, so much early than in Holland. I'm very glad that actually there are startups or incubators which are created within university structure also in Netherlands. And one of them, actually, I was happy to see that my alma mater, so Erasmus University in Rotterdam, came with such initiative. So this type of incubators. This type of incubator was created in Rotterdam at Erasmus MC. And what is nice to see is that there is not only access to research labs, but and there will be even new labs built for that. It is located at 18th floor of Rotterdam Research Tower. But what is also nice that you have really access, like in Leiden Bioscience Park. I have here to the meeting rooms, to networking events. And you have affiliated in a way partnership with Erasmus MC, so within university. And you not only, if you, for example, perform some or develop innovation for patient-oriented innovation, you develop your company or your startup company, then you also have access to patients. So that's really terrific, because you don't have to look like I would, for example, develop something for patients. I have to contact LUMC here in Leiden, Leiden University Medical Center. But there, this is Erasmus MC is also medical center, so this is affiliated, and you are right away affiliated partner as a startup. And that's, of course, it's for alumni. So this is, I think, something which is great, because if you are postdoc and you think, oh, I'd like to develop further myself as a scholar, you have a chance now to actually become a resident of such incubator and develop your company with help of Technology Transfer Office, but also with help of Erasmus MC University. So that's really nice, and I hope that more of such substructures will be created. Substructures in terms of university incubators, to really approach scientists and learn or teach them or train them how to now turn my innovation, right, my experimental data, my project, my fundamental research into some translational project for patients, for example. So that's something which I really see that this thing is changing, is happening. So university structure in Europe also is actually implementing a new, or actually maybe not implementing, but building new substructure in terms of incubators and allowing scientists to become scientist entrepreneurs. And I think that's what I like the most. And I will give you some links about this. So if you're interested, you can, especially people based in Netherlands, which are postdocs, or maybe they are PhD students, but they would think about, oh, I would like to actually develop some innovation and become scientist entrepreneur, develop my own startup or my business in life sciences. I will give you the link to it, so you can also contact people and get some basically gain more information about that. So, and of course, Columbia University, I will also provide you link. I think they already are very, since 9 years, they are actually busy with incubator. I found it really great achievement for university of 21st century to have such internal incubator and build innovation within a university walls and bring it to the market. So I think for today, I don't know if there are any questions, but if you are, if you guys have questions, please put it in the chat so I can still answer. I think this is the last moment for sharing your questions or your thoughts. Is anybody having question? Yeah, so I don't see anybody having questions for that moment. But if you also have some questions regarding your career, for example, you come from developing country, develop your career in Europe further, also please put it in comments. So I think more community we will build through these live sessions. More opportunities will arise. That's what I'm very sure of. So I think for this moment, thank you very much for listening. And let's co-create better future, right, for PhD students and postdocs in life sciences at universities globally. The next session, I will talk live about doing PhD in different country. And I will have some references, so that will also help us to keep it scientifically also sound, right? Without references, or like in science, you have some articles based on what you can discuss things. I think our live sessions wouldn't be so enriched. So I also will bring some references about doing PhDs in different countries to give you some open perspective, about possibilities. You don't have to do PhD in your country. You can go abroad, like me, do PhD in Netherlands instead of doing PhD in Poland. So I think that nowadays this creates wider, I think, spectrum of possibilities. Being already more integrated, not only at European level, but also at global level online. So thanks a lot, guys, for listening, and see you next time. And warm greetings from Netherlands. Bye.